Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. We are going to listen to President Trump say whatever the fuck he's saying. Holy shit, he walked out to the podium and it goes black. Fuck.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you
No,
count
he doesn't.
the illegal votes, they can try to steal.
He has lost. Fox is ready to call this election.
The votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers. And the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. We had polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time. There was no blue wave that they predicted. They thought there was going to be a big blue wave. That was false. That was done for suppression reasons. But instead, there was a big
He absolutely does want a
wave.
civil war.
And it's been properly acknowledged, actually, by the media. They were, I think, very impressed, but that was after the fact. That doesn't do us any good. We kept the Senate despite having twice as many seats to defend as Democrats, and in a really much more competitive states, we did a fantastic job with the Senate. I think we're very proud of what's happened there.
There we go.
More seats to defend. They spent almost $200 million on Senate races in South Carolina and Kentucky alone, 2 races, and hundreds of millions of dollars overall against us. At the national level, our opponents' major donors were Wall Street bankers and special interests. Our major donors were police officers, farmers, everyday citizens. Yet for the first time ever, we lost 0 races in the House. I was talking to Kevin McCarthy today. He said he couldn't believe it. 0 races. Very unusual thing, 0. And actually won many new seats.
January is when the 2 special elections in Georgia are going to happen.
The Republican woman.
If Democrats are lucky, it's not likely.
Ever before.
They will tie.
I won the largest share of non-white voters.
They will gain control of the Senate
60 years, including historic
through Harris being the tiebreaker.
Numbers of Latino, African American, Asian American, and Native American voters, the largest ever in our history. We grew our party by 4 million voters, the greatest turnout
that is
in
correct.
Republican Party history. Democrats are the party of the big donors, the big media, the big tech, it seems, and Republicans have become the party of the American worker, and that's what's happened. And we're also, I believe, the party of inclusion. As everyone now recognizes, media polling was election interference in the truest sense of that word by powerful special interests. These really phony polls, I have to call them phony polls, fake polls, were designed to keep our voters at home, create the illusion of momentum for Mr. Biden, and diminish Republicans' ability to raise funds. They were what's called suppression polls. Everyone knows that now. And it's never been used to the extent that it's been used on this last election. To highlight just a few examples, the day before election, Quinnipiac, which was wrong on every occasion that I know of, had Joe Biden up by 5 points in Florida, and they were off by 8.4 points, and I won Florida easily. So they had me losing Florida by a lot, and I ended up winning Florida by a lot. Other than that, they were very accurate. They had him up 4 points in Ohio, and they were off by 12.2 points. And I also won Ohio, great state of Ohio, very easily. The Washington Post had Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin, and it was basically even. They were off by about 17
Now, when I saw
points.
that the president was speaking, you know, like, is he going to concede? Of course not.
Suppression. There are now only a few states yet to be decided in the presidential race. The voting apparatus of those states are run in all cases by Democrats. we were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually. And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away in secret. And they wouldn't allow legally permissible observers. We went to court in a couple of instances, and we were able to get the observers.
There are bipartisan commissions that oversee the count
60,
in every
70
locale.
feet, 100 feet away or outside the
But I
building.
mean, hey,
Observe
Trump lies.
people inside the building. And we won a case, a big case, and we have others happening. There are lots of litigation, even beyond our litigation. There's tremendous amount of litigation generally because of how unfair.
He sent out a fundraising email last night
talking about
for his
mail-in
legal
voting
fund.
for a long time. It's really
Because the campaign is
our
fucking
system,
broke.
corrupt system, and it makes people corrupt even if they aren't by nature. But they become corrupt. It's too easy. They want to find out how
This is
many
quite
votes they
possibly
need,
the
and then
most
they seem to
corrupt
be able to
human
find
being
them.
to ever walk the
Wait, and then
planet.
they find them. And you see that on election night. We were ahead in vote in North Carolina by a lot, tremendous number of votes. And we're still ahead by a lot, but not as many because they're finding ballots all of a sudden. Oh, we have some mail-in ballots. It's amazing how those mail-in ballots are so one-sided, too. I know that it's supposed to be to the advantage
Yes,
of
because
the Democrats,
you
but in
didn't
all
take the
cases, they're so
pandemic
one-sided.
seriously, and you told people
Nearly
not to vote by mail.
700,000 votes in Pennsylvania. I won Pennsylvania by a lot, and that gets whittled down to,
Whittled.
I think they said now we're up by 90,000 votes, and they'll keep coming and coming and coming. They find them all over, and they don't want us to have any observers, although we won a court case. The judge said you have to have observers. Likewise in Georgia, and they're appealing. Actually, they're appealing. We won a case that we want
As
people
well
to
they
watch.
should.
We want observers, and they're actually appealing, which is
That's the only court
wonder why
challenge
they
he's
appeal.
won, as far as I
What we
know.
want to do is have people watch as they do the vote tabulations. Likewise in Georgia, I won by a lot, with a lead of over getting close to 300,000 votes. On
We've still
election
got
night.
the big show to do
Got
tonight.
whittled down, and now it's getting to be to a point where I'll go from winning by a lot to perhaps being even down a little bit. In Georgia, a pipe burst in a faraway location, totally unrelated to the location of what was happening, and they stopped counting for 4 hours. And
A water pipe
the
burst.
election apparatus in Georgia is run by Democrats. We also had
It is not.
of 300,000. Michigan, we're way up in Michigan, won the state. And in Wisconsin,
Secretaries of
likewise.
State run the
Fantastic.
election apparatus, and the Secretary of State of Georgia, as far as I know, is a
In
Republican.
every case, they got whittled down. Today, we're on track to win Arizona. We only need to carry, I guess, 55% of the remaining vote, 55% margins, and that's a margin that we've significantly
PBS is
exceeded,
fact-checking
so we'll
him.
see what happens with that, but we're on track to do okay in Arizona. Our goal is to defend the integrity of the election. We'll not allow the corruption to steal such an important election, or any election for that matter. And we can't allow anybody to silence our voters and manufacture results. I've been doing a lot of public things for a long time. I've never had anything that's been as inspirational, by people calling, talking, sending things to us. I've never seen such love and such affection and such spirit as I've seen.
I don't know that I've
from
ever
people
heard
know
Trump
what's
use the
happening,
word
and they see
love.
What's happening, and it's before their eyes. And there are many instances which will be reported very shortly.
I'm doubting Trump
There's
has ever
tremendous
felt the
litigation going
emotion.
on. This
Love.
is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an
Both
election.
as the sociopath that he is,
Let that happen.
incapable of loving
Known
someone.
as two of the most corrupt political
And I
places
highly doubt
in the
anyone
world.
in his life loves him, including his
Cannot be
children.
responsible for engineering the outcome of a presidential race, a very important presidential race. In Pennsylvania, Democrats have gone to the state Supreme Court to try and ban our election observers, and very strongly. Now, we won the case, but they're going forward. They don't want anybody in there. They don't want anybody watching them as they count the ballots. And I can't imagine why. There's absolutely no legitimate reason why they would not want to have people watching this process, because if it's straight, they should be proud of it. Instead, they're trying, obviously, to commit fraud. There's no question about that. In Philadelphia, observers have been kept far away.
If it's straight, your supporters probably want to drag it behind a truck.
Binoculars to try and see, and there's been tremendous.
No, if it's not straight. So I fucked that joke up. Sorry.
Paper on all of the windows so you can't see in, and the people that are banned.
I wasn't prepared to do this. I was just getting out of the shower.
Somewhat violent. The 11th Circuit ruled that in Georgia the votes
I was like, oh shit, Trump is speaking.
In by Election Day, that they should be in by Election Day, and they weren't. Votes are coming in after Election Day. And
if ballots were postmarked before Election Day,
to my knowledge, votes should be in by Election.
They are legal and should be counted.
They didn't do that. Democrat officials never believed they could win this election, honestly. I really believe that. That's why they did the mail-in ballots where there's...
I know for a fact that the Trump administration and their campaign did not believe that they could win this election honestly.
Unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever. And I've told everybody that these things would happen because I've seen it happen. I watched a lot of different elections before they decided to go with this big, massive election with tens of millions of ballots going out to everybody, in many cases totally unsolicited. This was unprecedented in American history. This was by design, despite years of claiming to care about the election security. They refused to include any requirement to verify signatures, identities, or even determine whether they're eligible or ineligible to vote. People are walking in there. They have no idea. They're just taking numbers. They're writing down things, the workers, and doing a lot of bad things. And we have a lot of information coming and litigation that you'll see that will shake even you people up, and you've seen it all. The officials overseeing.
Now, I saw somebody tweet out that, like, let him keep doing this. I think it was actually the media winch.
Machine that you've written about, and
let him keep doing this. Keep him occupied with this shit, because he could be able to do a lot of damage.
A lot about it hasn't changed
during this lame duck session, and that's absolutely true.
In Pennsylvania, partisan Democrats have allowed ballots in the state to be received 3 days after the election. And we think much more than that. And
if it is postmarked by Election Day, it's valid.
Any identification whatsoever. So you don't have postmarks, you don't have identification. There have been a number of disturbing irregularities across the nation. Our campaign has been denied access.
You check things against voter registration.
Any counting in Detroit. Detroit is another place. And I wouldn't say it has the best reputation for election integrity. Poll workers.
That's where the video of the goons storming the office that we played last night was from.
To challenge the activity, those poll workers jumped in front of the volunteers to block their view so that they couldn't see what they were doing. And it became a little bit dangerous. One major hub for counting ballots in Detroit covered up the windows again with large pieces of cardboard.
Probably trying to protect the identity of the poll workers so your fucking idiot-ass supporters don't harass them at home and dox them.
Supposed to be there. In Detroit, there were hours of unexplained delay in delivering many of the votes for counting. The final batch did not arrive until 4 in the morning, and even though the polls closed at 8 o'clock, so they brought it in, and the batches came in, and nobody knew where they came from. We've also been denied access to observe in critical places in Georgia. In multiple swing states, counting was halted for hours and hours on election night, with results withheld from major Democrat-run locations only to appear later. And they suddenly appeared, and they all had the name Biden on them, or just about all. I think almost all. They all had the name Biden on them, which is a little strange. I challenge Joe and every Democrat to clarify that they only want legal votes, because they talk about votes, and I think they should use the word legal votes. We want every legal vote counted, and I want every legal vote counted. We want openness and transparency, no secret count rooms, no mystery ballots, no illegal votes being cast after Election Day. You have election day, and the laws are very strong on that. You have an election day, and they don't want votes cast after election day, and they want the process to be an honest one. It's so important. We want an honest election, and we want an honest count, and we want honest people working back there. 'Cause
Yes, we want honest people.
So that's the way.
That's why we were trying to get
this
you the
country is
fuck
going
out of
to
the
win.
White
The
House.
United States will win, and we think we will win the election very easily. We think there's going to be a lot of litigation because we have so much evidence, so much proof, and it's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land. We'll see. But we
That's
think
why you
there'll
wanted
be
to
a lot
jam
of
through
litigation
Amy Coney
because
Barrett.
we can't have an election stolen like this. And I tell you, I have been talking about this for many months with all of you, and I've said very strongly that mail-in ballots are going to end up being a disaster. Small elections were a disaster. Small, very easy to handle elections were disastrous. This is a large-scale version, and it's getting worse and worse every day. We're hearing stories that are horror stories, absolute horror stories.
This is one gigantic
And
run-on
we can't let
sentence.
that happen to the United States of America. It's not a question of who wins, Republican, Democrat, Joe, myself. We can't let that happen to our country. We can't be disgraced by having something like this happen. So it will be hopefully cleared up, maybe soon, I hope soon, but it'll probably go through a process, a legal process. And as you know, I've claimed certain states, and he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states, but ultimately
You
I have a
can't
feeling
claim
judges are
shit,
gonna have to do
motherfucker.
but there's been a lot of shenanigans.
Not how this
We can't,
works.
stand for that in our country. Thank you very much.
Are you being a sore loser?
Are we gonna get questions with Kayleigh McEnany? Nope.
Press secretary or trumpet?
Nope. So, wow. That was a whole lot of bullshit. Okay, we got a great show for you here in less than an hour. Looks like Fox News is ready to call this race at any time. We may get a call tonight. We're going to talk about what life is going to be like after Trump. It's what's going to happen to his Twitter. That's an interesting assessment. What his public life is going to be like. I've got some surprises for you guys planned. That's what we're going to talk about in less than an hour on the big show on the Troll Patrol Live. We'll see you